Hey there, everybody. Welcome. We're in the middle of our study called A Man After God's Own Heart, the life of David in the Bible. And here we are in First Chronicles now. So we've covered First Samuel and Second Samuel and First Kings. So First Samuel was only 16, chapter 16 to the end of the book, and then the entire book of Second Samuel gave us a story of David. Then the first two chapters of First Kings wrapped up the life of David. But now we're going to go to First Chronicles, and we're going to look at this book. There's 29 chapters in it, and sporadically through the book of First Chronicles, you're going to see David's life brought up. Now, first two chapters, chapters 1 and 2, nothing about him. Chapter 3, we're going to see a lineage of his sons, and that's what I want to talk about tonight. In fact, I'm going to try something we've never done before. I've got a graphic ready to pull up to show you his family tree, and specifically his sons, and I just want to speak to his family in that respect. So if you're able to turn with me to First Chronicles chapter 3, please do so. Only going to read, I think, the first 9 verses. Yeah, that's right. And we're just going to read through them. And then we're going to go to this graphic and talk about it. And it'll be a little bit of relief to you. You don't have to see my face for once, which probably is a blessing. Anyways, First Chronicles 3, verse number 1. Now these were the sons of David. So if you've read First Chronicles, perhaps you know chapters 1 and 2 are the genealogies of the generations in the Bible. They start all the way with Adam. First Chronicles chapter 1, verse number 1. Adam, Sheth, which is Seth, Enosh, which is Enoch, and going on through, if you read Genesis frequently, you'll know these names: Mahalaleel, Jared, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And so that's the first 4 verses of First Chronicles. People often wonder, why do we have a young earth philosophy or belief? We only believe the earth is 6,000 years old. I know every science textbook in America, at least, says that the earth is billions and billions, if not hundreds of billions of years old, and we contend that it's only 6,000 years old. There's a great disparity between those two positions, but we take these types of scriptures and the genealogy. So from Adam to the time of Christ is only 4,000 years. And of course, the entire calendar was reset. And around the world, we use the Gregorian calendar, giving us the year currently of 2023, which is 2023 years, give or take, from the time of the birth of Christ. And so you're talking 6,000 years. Adam to the time of Christ, based on these genealogies here, is going to be 4,000 years. And then from the time of Christ to now is another 2,000. So 6,000 years is all we're talking about. So back to chapter 3, verse 1. These were the sons of David, which were born unto him in Hebron. So remember, he spent his reign in 2 different places. The first 7 years was in Hebron, and then the next 33 years was in Jerusalem. And that first 7 was when the king, I think it was Abner, wasn't it? Was the king of Israel, and David was king only over Judah there in Hebron. So while he was in Hebron, there were sons born to him. The first was Amnon of Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess. So Amnon is the son's name. Ahinoam is the mom's name. And then the Jezreelitess tells us who she is or from where she came. The second, Daniel of Abigail, the Carmelitess. Remember Nabal and Abigail? And Nabal was killed by God and had a heart attack after refusing to pay David for protection. And so Abigail marries him. So Amnon's from Ahinoam. We know Amnon well. Daniel's from Abigail. We don't know Daniel at all. We don't know anything about his life. The third, Absalom, the son of Maacah. We know Absalom well. Absalom killed Amnon. Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. We know Adonijah well. We talked about him yesterday and the day before, he tried to take the throne from Solomon. So those four sons here are born first. You've got Amnon, Daniel, Absalom, and Adonijah. And three of those four very well-known sons. And most of them, honestly, we don't know much, if anything, about. Verse 3, the fifth, Shephatiah of Abital, I don't know how you say that. The sixth, Ithream by Eglah, his wife. These six were born unto him in Hebron, and there he reigned 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. And these were born unto him in Jerusalem. So those first six children, sons, they're born while he's in Hebron. So 7 years, that's almost a kid every year, isn't it? Of course, it doesn't have to play out like that. All six of these kids came from six different women. And so when I put the chart up, I'm going to show you this, and it'll give you a nice visual of how this all plays out. So the first four verses tell us of the first six sons, only three of which we know anything about, and they're all born in Hebron. Now, let's go to Jerusalem, verse number 5. And these were born unto him in Jerusalem, Shimea and Shobab and Nathan and Solomon, four of Bathshua. And of course, that's Bathsheba, the daughter of Amiel. So, notice here, the first six sons all come from six different women. And now the next four sons are all from Bathsheba. And there was one of those sons that God chose to take, wasn't there? So of Bathsheba, we have Shimea, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon. So now a fourth son that we know a great deal about, and that's King Solomon. So now all we know is Amnon, Absalom, Adonijah, and Solomon. Verse 6, Ibhar also, in Elishama, and Eliphelet, and Noga, and Nepheg, and Japhiah, and Elishama, and Eliada, and Eliphelet, 9. These were all the sons of David, beside the sons of the concubines and Tamar, their sister. So if you can do the math here, it finishes verse 8 saying 9 children, but then there's 4 from Bathsheba, makes 13. Then there's another 6 that were born in Hebron, so that makes 19 sons. We know of 19 sons, and that's all that we have record of here of David. Let's read all these verses again, just so we can have them concrete. Now these were the sons of David, which were born unto him in Hebron. The firstborn Amnon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, the second Daniel of Abigail the Carmelitess, the third Absalom the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai king of Geshur, the fourth Adonijah the son of Haggith, the fifth Shephatiah of Abital, the sixth Ithream by Eglah his wife. These 6 were born unto him in Hebron, and there he reigned 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. And these were born unto him in Jerusalem, Shimea and Shobab, and Nathan and Solomon, 4 of Bathshua, the daughter of Amiel. Ibhar also, and Elishama, and Eliphelet, and Noga, and Nepheg, and Japhiah, and Elishama, and Eliada, and Eliphelet, 9. These were all the sons of David, beside the sons of the concubines, and Tamar, their sister. So notice there's 2 Elishamas here. Verse 6 and verse 8 give us an Elishama. And then verse 6 and verse 8 also give us an Eliphelet. 2 different mothers, however. So let's go ahead and see if this will work for you. We transition to this chart here, and hopefully that's pulling up all right for you. So if you go to the top of the screen and you look and find the 2 blue ovals, and in between those 2 blue ovals is King David. All right, so King David is right there, and those are all his brothers and sisters that are beside him. Eliab, if you go all the way to the left, Eliab is the first son of Jesse, and then Abinadab, then Shimea, then Nethaneel, then Radai, then Ozem. Those are the 6 sons of Jesse. Then David has a sister, Zeruiah, and then David becomes the 7th son. and then Abigail, his sister, not to be confused with Abigail, his wife. So there it is. David is the youngest boy. He is the eighth child and the second from the youngest. So 9 kids in the family. David is number 8, and he's son number 7. Now, if we go down to the next line, all of them are blue ovals. The triangles are the men. The blue ovals are the ladies. And what you're going to find here, these are David's wives, okay? So there's a good number of them. Let's go ahead and read the names, then we'll get a count and figure it out. So all the way to the left of the blue ovals, you see Michal is his wife. Then Ahinoam, that's 2. Abigail makes 3. Maacah makes 4. Haggith makes 5. Abital makes 6. Eglah makes 7. Bathsheba makes 8. And the Bible does say that he had other wives and then concubines as well. So we know of 8 named wives of David. So let's see what I know about these. And I don't know much. First wife David had was Michal. Do you remember when Saul was trying to get David killed? And he said, go get me 100 foreskins of the Philistines, and I'll give you Michal to wife. And David goes out and gets 200 instead of 100, and he's given Michal. And and then Saul does take her away from him later on. She's a bit of a problematic wife, which Saul was considering she may be. And it did prove to be true there. So Michal's the first wife. Ahinoam, I can't remember where he got her. You see these verse references here. You're welcome to look those up on your own time. Abigail, we already talked about being the wife of Nabal, but then Nabal dies, and so David takes her. Then Maacah, then Haggith, then Abital, then Eglah, and then Bathsheba. So we know Bathsheba very well, the wife of Uriah, whom David took while he was at battle. And David did not go to battle. He commits adultery with her, has Uriah killed, has an illegitimate child with Bathsheba, who after 1 week of life God takes. Then we're told of other wives here, and the other wives have some children. And then there are the concubines. Now, let's look at these children now as we come down. So the top is David's brothers and sisters. All of those blue ovals in the second line are David's wives. So Michal gave David no children. Do you remember God made Michal barren? When David returned the Ark of the Covenant from the Philistines who had released it, and he brought it from the house of Obed-Edom, David was dancing, and he had taken off his royal attire, and Michal severely chastised him for that and corrected him and rebuked him. And so David then put her in her place, and then God made her barren. Michal never gave David any children, and that's why there are no sons here given by Michal. Ahinoam is the one who gave him Amnon, and then Abigail gives him, here's a second name listed, Daniel, we read in 1 Chronicles 3, but Chileab. Then Maacah gives him Absalom, and then Haggith gives him Adonijah. So to go back to our text, that is verses 1, 2, and 1 and 2. So Ahinoam is Amnon, Abigail is Daniel, Maacah is Absalom, Haggith is Adonijah. And that's verses 1 and 2 of 1 Chronicles chapter number 3. Let's see here. Then, verse number 3, the 5th Shephatiah of Abital, the 6th Ithream by Eglah. And so there it is, Abital, Shephatiah, Eglah, Ithream. And those were the 6 sons born to David while in Hebron. Then, if you get to verse number 5, you're going to see the sons of Bathsheba listed. There are 4 of them. I'm trying to scoot this so I can read it. Shammah, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon. Those are the 4 sons of Bathsheba. And I think that speaks to the love that David had for Bathsheba, perhaps over his other wives. That might not be actually true. We have to consider the probability or possibility that these women were just beyond childbearing years at certain times. I'm thinking of Abigail already, who had a husband, Nabal, and he was a successful businessman. We don't know exactly how old all these ladies were, but it may be that they were only able to give him one child, or it could be David preferred Bathsheba over his other wives and therefore spent more time with her and fathered more children by her. And then we get to the next here. It just says other wives. So if we go back to our text and we start reading in verse number 6, it just says Ibhar, Elishama, Eliphet, Noga, Nepheg, Japhiah, Elishama, Eliada, and Eliphet, 9. These were all the sons of David, besides the sons of the concubines and Tamar, their sister. So you see, other wives drops down, and then there are the 9 that are listed there, and Tamar is also listed there. Tamar is the full sister to Absalom, and so she's going to be the daughter of Maacah as well. And then these other 9 are just credited to other wives. So here's what we know about David. He had 8 named wives and at least 2 unnamed wives. This is sort of like the wise men, right? How many wise men were there? We don't know. There were at least 2 because it's plural men. Could there have been 100? Sure. Could there have been 3? Perhaps. But there are at least 2, but that's all we know for sure. So other wives, how many were there? We don't know, but 9 children were born to them. It could be that there were 9 wives. So 9 plus the 8 that are named is 17 wives. And then he's got concubines on top of that. So all in all, here's what we know about King David. We know that he had at least 10 wives. We know that much. We know that he fathered 19 sons and at least 1 daughter, so 20 kids. Then he had at least 2 concubines. In fact, there's more than that, isn't there? Weren't there 10 concubines left in Jerusalem when Absalom invaded, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got at least 10 concubines and then sons by those concubines. So this is the grief that I give David. I give David this. He wasn't a great father. David, you look at his family and the choices that were made by him, and he did not do well in terms of being a father and being a husband. How can you take care of the needs of 10 wives, let alone at least 10 concubines on top of it? And it could be that there were, who knows, it could be 20 wives and 50 concubines, 70 women. We don't know for sure. But it's too much for one man to handle, right? He's not properly overseeing his family. And as such, he has Amnon raping his sister Tamar. He has Absalom plotting against Amnon, then ultimately killing him. And then we're going to see Absalom rise up to try to take the kingdom away because David won't speak to him. And then eventually Absalom is killed. Then Adonijah tries to steal the kingdom from Solomon. And Adonijah claimed to be the most rightful heir to it. Let's go back to our list here again. I can't see it. I already... there it is. Okay, so Amnon is dead, and then Absalom is dead. Adonijah's left. So Adonijah claimed to have the rightful position to the throne with Bathsheba. Would that mean that Daniel or Caleb, however you say that, those 2 names are the same person? It could be that he is dead too. possibly. But again, we don't know anything about him. Here's what we know. David's family was a train wreck. That's what it was. And until you get to Solomon, you don't have anyone of any moral merit whatsoever, any godly heritage or lineage. And it's just too much. And so that's what we see as his great failure. All right, hopefully that was worth the time doing. Hope that was a blessing to you some way, somehow. Shed a little bit of light on it. Maybe I gave you more questions than answers. I don't know. Thanks so much for watching, however. God bless you. Have a great day.